What is up? Welcome back. Well, let's dive right on into it. We're going to catch up from yesterday's queue. I actually had 7 more show up today. But we are going to... it's been a day today. Had a bunch of other work to do, and then had to take our cat to the vet just for regular checkup stuff, but just haven't had a lot of time today. So we're starting a little later than usual, but not too bad. We're not gonna fix too much here, but we'll get through what we can. Anyways, we've got Robert's HomePod here with the classic death farts, and then we will move on to a couple of anonymous no power repairs there.
I'm having trouble connecting.
It seems to work fine, but I'm sure if we played music through it long enough, as they describe it, it'll eventually make a loud sound, also known as death farts. We can also tell from that loud pop that those filters are long gone. So we're going to get this all spruced up again. I'm hoping the subwoofer speaker is in good shape still and it didn't suffer. It sounds fine, but unless you've got another one, a known good one, sitting right next to it to do a comparison, you can't tell if it's been impacted by this without looking at the physical condition of it from the inside. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get this apart. We're gonna take a look at the subwoofer and make sure that it's still good to reuse. If not, then we'll put a different one in there. In any case, we're going to dig a little deeper past the subwoofer and get to the amplifier so that we can replace those filters on there that go bad and cause that loud popping and death farts and all sorts of other bass issues. Last but not least, we're going to take a peek at the Schottky diode on the amplifier, since we've established that a certain date range of those diodes have quality control issues and fail for no good reason, causing no power. So if they've got one of those diodes on there with the same date code, then we'll replace that while we're here. If not, then there's no need to worry about it. Fill up our alcohol here. Yeah, making a mess. At least it's just alcohol. We use this to break down the glue that holds the speaker basket down, so we can peel it right up without much fuss. I've worked on these so much that it's starting to dig into my finger skin right there. It's hard. Or maybe I just cut myself on one recently. Certain parts of these are surprisingly sharp. You gotta be careful. You don't even notice you cut yourself until until there's like blood everywhere. Oh, here's the one from yesterday. I don't know if you guys were around for that or remember that. Let's take another look at the subwoofer really quick, make sure it's still good. Yeah, absolutely. And we've got a 42K dated diode on this board, so the only thing it really needs are some new filters. We'll go ahead and get those replaced. We'll put it together with a replacement solid rubber subwoofer gasket. And that should make this one happy HomePod for a long time. That's not fun. The windings in the motor for my fan are starting to get noisy. That fan's only a few months old. Back in my day. All right. I forgot about one other one that we didn't put up on the screen there. It is, let's get them up there. I'm going to scoot them in front of the anonymous repairs, because the anonymous repairs tend to not even be interested to watch, but I always stream them just in case they ever feel like it. And it's also good reference for me to go back and look and see if there's any questions about what I did with their particular repair. Ooh, I didn't even notice this when I was taking it apart. What the heck? Looks like they ran out of drawstring and tied some more on there. It's not the first time I've seen that, but it's the first time I've seen it done so, I'm going to give that a little snip. That's much better. Not that anyone will see it, but it'll fit around the lip of the frame there much easier without all that extra on there.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet. For more info, check the Home app.
All right. Let's move on to the next one. Funny enough, it's the same problem if I'm not mistaken. Let's find out. Oof, you packed it well, my guy. Oof. There's a thumbtack in there. Why is there a thumbtack in there? Okay. Oh yeah, I'm keeping this thumbtack. It's mine now. I'm adding it to my desk of things that people
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Desk of things that people have sent me over the years, be it on purpose or not. We've got this wooden cube from Mayushi. We've got this challenge coin from, oh gosh, I'm spacing on the name of that fellow, but they were awesome. We've got all of the mini foods my wife has made, of course. And we've got this HomePod with no base.
I'm having trouble.
Interesting. Let's crack this open and see if we can't figure out what's going on. Have the filters gone bad and taken the subwoofer out with it? Yeah, that subwoofer is long gone. Ooh, it's stinky. We'll need to find ourselves another one here. Thankfully, I've got stuff for just the occasion. Let me get a base put on this so I can work on it. There we go. That is a much better subwoofer speaker. You can go back to sleep. Alright, we don't want to just slap a replacement subwoofer in there because it'll just blow up again. Let's fix the reason that subwoofer had a meltdown. It's the same part that we replaced in Robert's HomePod. Those filters. Those darn filters. They do naturally decay over time, whether they're being used or not, so it's kind of inevitable for every HomePod that they're going to start death farting and needing new filters. Alright. We've got a 48K data diode on here, so that needs to get replaced before it causes no power as well. Let's get these filters first. These capacitors naturally age and decay over time because they are basically fancy crystals. They have a crystalline structure of sorts, and it sort of relaxes over time. There's two things you can do about it. There's nothing you can do to avoid it or prevent it, but you can reuse your original filters by bringing them up to their Curie temperature, usually 150 degrees Celsius, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, for 10-15 minutes, something like that. It depends on the capacitor, but basically you can recondition them back to brand new again, and it's a pretty standard thing the industry does. Or you can just replace them with ones that you know are going to be good. Who knows what Apple used? Nobody knows the exact spec and part number that Apple used, but we can replace them with good stuff. Beautiful. Let's get that diode out of there before it causes issues. There it is, the 48K dated diode. Infamous for causing no power. We'll stay ahead of that. And there we go. I don't like how that 10 ohm resistor looks. Let's go ahead and just replace it. I don't want to lose sleep over it. It's a pretty common casualty when those filters get so bad that it blows up a subwoofer. This resistor tends to get taken out with it. It looks okay now, but it's at certain angles it looks kind of roasty. So I'm just gonna play it safe and replace that too. Alright, now I'm happy. What's the most common failure point on them? Oh, that's gotta be that Schottky diode. Actually, I'd say it's a tie between the Schottky diode that fails and causes no power and those DC filters that fail and cause death farts and bass issues. It's a toss-up because, on one hand, there are so many of these homepods out there with that faulty diode waiting to fail and cause no power. Not all of them have it, but there's no way to tell without taking it apart. So, might as well just not worry about it until it happens, if it ever does. But then you've got the death farts and bass issues caused by those filters going bad. And that's not a quality control issue with the parts, per se. That's just an inevitable fate that they all will have by nature of using ceramic capacitors as DC filters for an amplifier. They naturally decay over time, whether they're being used or not, and they'll all go bad and need replaced. Otherwise, you'll have death farts and bass issues. So, I think in the long run, the most common failure point is going to be those filters. Short-term picture, though, it definitely appears to be that faulty diode in many of them. Yeah, once you swap those two parts out, you're pretty well set for at least another 5 to 10 years, if not longer, before
I'm having trouble connecting to the
before
internet.
they need to be replaced again. The diode never needs to be replaced again, and it doesn't need to be replaced if it doesn't have the known bad date code in the first place.
I'm having trouble connect.
But those filters...
I'm having trouble connect.
Perfect. The filters... they need attention every once in a while. It does depend on which, how you use it. Obviously, light use, they'll wear slower than heavy use. Alright. We've got one here with no power. No lights, no power. 6 watts from the wall. That all looks like the usual dead diode symptoms to me. Let's get this apart and get it fixed. Are we replacing them with OEM parts? No, because we don't even know what OEM was. But that said, we replace them with the best chance at something that's going to be better than OEM.
Say we've been running around.
I got this and one more, if you guys are doing alright.
Yeah. We're gonna go sit in our pit in a second.
Uh-oh.
Let's go say hi, baby Tail. Say hi, baby Tail. Hi. Who is that? Little Joe. You talk to yourself and sit. How's that? Yeah. So good. Look at that.
Okay, this one's coming off the desk for a sec, folks. I think it's been like 2 or 3 years since I've had one fight like this. Oh, seriously, go back to my past live streams and find a HomePod that put up that much of a fight. It's been years. Let's go. Even with the rubbing alcohol. Wow. Oh, we got a good bass speaker, that's nice. Here we go, here we go, here we go. First up, those fart filters. Why does the HomePod specifically death fart and restart on us when these parts go bad? Well, I was trying to find, a few years ago, at the very beginning of our repair adventures, I was trying to find a replacement amp chip. This guy right here. It's responsible for specifically amplifying the audio signal for just the subwoofer. Each speaker in the HomePod has its own dedicated amp. We've seen some of these blown up, and some people thought that the amp itself was the source of death farts, but we proved that wrong. Anyways, I was looking for replacement amp chips, and I found the family that this was based on, with similar parts, some that appear to be exact replacements just with a different part number. And the manufacturer also has an evaluation board with the same amp chip and schematics and a data sheet, all that good stuff, everything you need. So I was reading through the data sheet of the amplifier chip from the same family, and just to be clear, this isn't an off-the-shelf part. You can't buy this one, but it is identical to a family of amp chips that Power Audio makes and sells. So that info was available, and the data sheet specifically says when DC offset is too high, it will play a loud warning tone and crash or restart. Doesn't that sound familiar? So, obviously the death fart is like a programmed behavior built into the amplifier chip as kind of a way to let the end user know, like, there's a problem, stop using me. And the idea is when you reach out to when the customer reaches out to the manufacturer for help, the manufacturer hears the description from the customer, it plays a loud sound and restarts. And tells them right away what the issue is. And it kind of forces people to, it forces you to stop using it until it is fixed to prevent further damage to other components. Unfortunately, many people still continue to use a HomePod that is literally death farting and restarting itself every 15, 30 minutes, maybe hour or so. As soon as it starts death farting, stop using it. Get some help. Oh, what's the date code for 8K, of course. It's always the 4.6Ks and the 4.8Ks that we see failing. And out of the thousands we've seen, that pattern still holds true, despite 6 to 8 months worth of various date codes that they did use through these HomePods. Basically what happened with these diodes is, well, nobody knows why other than a good guess that the manufacturing of these diodes was not done properly during those 2 weeks that they were making them. It's not like the part's underrated or anything. It just wasn't made very well. And there's no way of telling without taking your HomePod apart whether it's got that diode inside or not waiting to fail. At the very least, it's the kind of problem that if and when it does happen, it's not going to cost any more time, effort, or money to fix it or prevent it. Which is why I tell people, don't spend money on your HomePod if it's not giving you any issues. Just don't worry about it. That said, as soon as it does give you issues, start worrying about it. Keep an eye on it. If it's an obvious enough issue, then, like death farts, stop using it right away. And you hear us say 4.6K and 4.8K date codes on those diodes all the time. The full date code is 1746K or 1748K. The first two numbers represent the year of the diode's manufacturing date, and the last two numbers represent the week of that year. So we've seen diodes as old as 1720K inside of HomePods. We've seen diodes as new as 1802K inside of HomePods. We've seen all the date ranges in between. And consistently, it's the 1746K and the 1748K that fail. And I'm so confident in that Well, when we first started doing these repairs, we had a suspicion. I suspected it. You know, it was strange that we would see all these HomePods with the same date code on its diode if it was failed and had no power. And then all these other HomePods that had other issues but never had no power issues. And they had other date codes on their diodes. So make of that as you will. There's no correlation to the date code of the diode and the serial number or production date of the HomePod itself, unfortunately, because there were only 2 production runs of the HomePods, and they were pretty much back to back. Both production runs used these diodes. Not that every HomePod has one, but imagine you're in electronics. Imagine you're Apple and you're about to manufacture a bunch of these HomePods. So you place a large order of those diodes from the manufacturer, and they send you, of course, they don't just send you, you know, the 46Ks and the 48Ks date-coded diodes. They don't just send you 2 weeks. They send you as much as you order and as many as they can get to you, right? So when Apple's putting these HomePods together, the bin of diodes that they're pulling out of is full of date codes from, like we were saying, the earlier 1720s up to the 1802s. And in that mix were the 1746Ks and 1748Ks. And of course, you know, it'd be kind of silly to keep track of the date code of that diode that was put into each HomePod. We're kind of lucky that there's even any identifying marks on that component, let alone a date code that let us correlate which ones fail most often. And I say most often, I still mean it's literally we have not seen a single instance of these diodes that have failed where it has not been that date code. Sure, we've seen plenty of HomePods with no power where it hasn't been that diode. But that's not often. Whenever it is that diode failure, it's always the same, one of those 2 date codes out of the dozens of possible ones that they had. Robert, welcome. Yes. I just think it's neat. It's easy enough to turn the camera on and stream a little honest work. Alright, you know what we should do next? We should do live streamed oil changes for your car. Nick's Lube. We'll call it Nick's Lube. Yeah. And you can drop your car off. You can get it fixed. Get whatever's wrong with it fixed. You know, we won't just change oil. We'll do all sorts of stuff. But you can watch it get streamed, and then you can watch us take it out for a joyride. I joke about it because it's happened to me personally. Me and a coworker. I helped him find. He was looking for a new car, and I found him a 2004 Chevrolet Impala SS trim. So it came with a 3.8 V6 with a supercharged engine, and all blacked out. OEM black trim, everything. Gray interior, leather. And what made it special was it was a one in like 3,000 or 4,000 Indianapolis Speedway edition. And it had a couple of issues. So he took it to a mechanic that one of our other coworkers actually recommended. And he needed I followed him there, I took him there to pick his car up when they finished. And as we were pulling in, we saw them pull out of the parking lot in his Impala to take it for a test drive, and they just absolutely gave it the beans and peeled out and hopped over the curb getting out onto the road. Not a great sight to see. It'd be the equivalent of like me taking a customer's HomePod and in order to test my repairs, I stick it out on my back porch, outside in the elements, and I play music to it full blast, like bass test music, obnoxious stuff. Things that are just going to absolutely thrash it at the max. Because it probably won't break, and if it does, there's probably another problem. But at the same time, jeez. There's a level of respect that you should just by default give to other people's stuff. Unless you even if you're willing to replace it, or even if you can replace it, you should consider whether you should. I should have known not to take my car to a shop after that experience, but totally different shop, totally worse problems. Try bungling a timing belt job on an interference engine and routing a coolant hose right in front of a pulley so it rubs a hole in it and leaks coolant before throwing the timing belt and grenading the engine. Jeez. Good times at Nick's Garage. We fix what you broke. What's it got, stuntman? It's got power. Let's take a look at number 2.
I'm having trouble connecting.
Very good, very good.
I'm having trouble connecting.
All right. Here's the second and last, the second anonymous no power repair, the last HomePod for the night. No lights, no power, no nothing there. A couple of watts from the wall. We've seen it enough. Let's see it again. Before we get started, got a little bit of a crack there. So we'll want to be careful when we work on this. We don't want to make that any worse. How I do that is I start my tool after the crack, so that I've already got most of the rest of the display already cut through when I get to it, and I've got time to keep it nice and level as I pass under that crack. There we go. Very nice. Subwoofer smells fine. Alex, welcome, welcome. Everything seems to be pretty delayed right now, yeah. It's the holidays coming up though. Can't be too surprised. As long as it doesn't get outright lost. Alright. Filters first. It's gone. It's back. Or as gas station encounters would say, she gone. Some fine, fancy, fresh new filters on there to keep the farts away. Let's get that dead diode out of here. Oh, what do you know? 48K. Eddie Eddie, welcome, welcome. Oh, I am so sorry. I don't know what you are saying. I can only speak English. Give me 1 second here. Top work. Oh, thank you, thank you. You fixed yours watching my videos? Very cool. Gonna get that ribbon cable connected. This connector is always tricky. It can throw people off. That is unlocked. And that is locked in loaded. Yes, sir, and or ma'am. That is all fixed up. Very good. Very nice. All right. Folks, that's all I've got for you here and now. Hope you all enjoyed this live stream repair, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Goodbye.